There's going to be a lot of action to be seen.
Certainly is, and there's one more bout of action to happen here at Morgan Park as we get ready now for the final race of the Queensland Motorcycle Sportsman Club Challenge. And Braxy joins me in the commentary box. Welcome back, Braxy. Great to have you back for the final race of the weekend.
Oh, warm headphones.
There you go. Steve's just warmed them up for you.
What a great weekend, guys, eh?
It's been fantastic. And the other thing is great weather, great venue, great weekend, great racing, and a bit of topsy-turviness in the championship as well. That victory for Jack Mahaffey, 2 points ahead now in the championship.
Yep. Very much so, and it's going right down to the wire. I've said a couple of times this weekend on air that this could be a very formative round of the championship, and it's shaping up like that because Wayne Maxwell's taken a decent lead after the second race of the Superbike. Up to the second race of the Superbikes, we had 4 points between 4 riders. Yeah, now there's a pretty big spread between 4 riders.
Yeah, well, he's got 5 points over Troy Herfoss and 21 over Robbie Bugden. So, Wayne Maxwell will be extremely happy with how this weekend's gone for him.
And Robbie Bugden and Kelvin and the rest of the crew of the VC Performance will be ruining that loss of points they've gone through, which could prove very critical for them during the course of the next 2 rounds of the 2017 YMF Australian Superbike Championships. But at the moment, thanks to the Motorcycle Sportsman's lads here, they've got their support category out here for their club and class. The
who do you reckon was the keenest to get this race underway? The man that's won 2 from 2 so far.
As Lee Holmes, the expat Victorian who's been living in Queensland for a number of years.
Now, he's wearing number 3 on his bike, Braxy. You would think that the pace that he's shown this weekend, that he'd have to be going pretty close to winning a Motorcycle Sportsman Club Championship.
Yeah, well, he won it last year, so maybe he's just like sticking with number 3 as we head off on our warm-up lap, I do believe.
Yes, well, by the speed they're going into turn 1, it looks like it's the warm-up lap.
And the green flag being waved to say that there's a clear track. So we've got Anthony Carroll in second place. Then Wadi Nadsri there in 3rd. Glenn Chandler in 4th position. Mark Torrance, John Carpenter. Then it's McGowan, Dixon and Wheeldon on the 3rd row of the grid with Capola, Sarah Fairbrother and Webb there in the 4th row with Frost and Wicker rounding out the 14 bike field.
And I think Sarah Fairbrother actually got up into the top 10, didn't she, in race number 2? So a good result from her.
She's been around a few years racing. Started through the junior ranks as well. Another one that comes through the MRRDA/GP Juniors.
And riding a CBR 250, a combination of 400 and 250 machinery out there.
But, and a 2-stroke, the TZR, the limited edition TZR Yamaha 250, which is in pristine condition. It looks like it's just straight off the showroom floor.
And a mighty fine-looking motorcycle it is too.
And they're all pretty, well, I was just saying too before, and the level of presentation of all the teams and everything's up a notch in the last couple of years, particularly this year as well.
Unfortunately, a few of the Superbike guys have got a bit of work to do to maintain that level of presentation.
Yes.
When was the last time you actually saw that many people crash out within such a short distance of corners? I think it was Matt Walters, Daniel Falzon, Brian Starring and Bo Beaton, all within a lap or so of each other.
I was beginning to think there was some fluid had come out of one of the leading bikes, a bit of overheating or whatever, because, like you said, Phil, it was bang, 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 one after the other. You couldn't have, it was as if they were rehearsed it well and
they were all completely different crashes too.
Yeah. So they just, well, if it wasn't anything on the track, which it wasn't, because the marshals would have been straight onto it, it just shows you how hard the guys are riding down this track.
We actually made that comment that everyone was just pushing a little bit over the limit to get ready. But we've got the last race of the weekend now on track. We'll be in the starters' hands very, very shortly. Lee Holmes starting from pole position. He's won 2 from 2 so far.
And missing from the second row of the grid is Glenn Chandler. We're just giving him a wrap on the 2-stroke and he's not even turning up.
Well, we're away, Braxy. The revs have risen and we're away down in towards turn 1. And Lee Holmes leads them through there. No surprise to see him lead the field up through the next corner, through the Motul corner. But Carroll did a great job in the race earlier this morning. He finished in 2nd place.
I'll tell you what, at this time of the day, coming up through turn 3, you come out of the shadows of turn 2 up to turn 3 and the sun is right in your eyes as you come, and this is probably where you really need commitment, because to get that drive through turn 3, it narrows pretty quickly too around here.
And if anyone knows this track well to be riding at this time of the day with the sun in your eyes, it is probably the local Queensland Motorcycle Sportsman guys. They would have done a few laps around this
Just
circuit.
a couple, yeah. And like having a chat with Paul Dawson, the president of the Motorcycle Sportsmen's Club, a while ago. 2 weeks ago, they had a meeting here, Phil, and there was 60 proddy bikes.
Wow.
They had to have two actual races. There was that many proddy bikes.
So they would have been queued all the way back down to Suzuki Corner at the start of the race.
But it's a very healthy local scene up here in Queensland. Probably the weather might help as well to get people out for ride day. And the good thing about the Motorcycle Sportsman is if you come and try day and want to get into racing, your first meeting they give it to you gratis. Here you go, let's go racing. And that's where a lot of these guys started, particularly in third place, Wadi Nadzri, the Malaysian heritage guy, been born and bred in Australia. He only started riding a couple of years ago, and from what the lads told me, he was pretty slow, but look at him now, battling for second and third positions here at the Club Challenge. It's a final race, so proudly sponsored by Shark Leathers this weekend.
Well, he's actually sitting in third place at the moment. He's got a considerable lead over fourth place as well. So Wadi Nazri, just saw him go past that on 8.28. He could be on for his second podium of the weekend out of 2 races. That'll be a good result for him at the end of the weekend. Oh, and look at Carroll. Anthony Carroll is doing his desperate efforts to try and hang on to Lee Holmes and doing a great job at the moment. He's only 0.4 of a second behind as they go through the first intermediate.
I think Lee Holmes has got a carrot dangling off the back of the bike, actually. He's keeping the times down and seeing if he wants to really have a dip.
Well, he wouldn't get any of my kids following him if he's got a carrot. He'd need to have a chocolate hanging off the back of the bike.
Carrots? But
that's a vegetable.
McGowan there in fourth position. He was having a good race with Mr. Chandler there earlier on.
There's Sarah Fairbrother too on the black bike number 14, putting in a great ride. She's up to 9th position and putting in a real good effort there. Hanging onto the back of Mark Torrance on board his CBR 250, bike number 12 in 8th position. And
Mark Torrance does a lot of classic racing too. We've seen him at the Barry Sheen and the Island Classic and things like that. And we'll just see where Dixon is. Glenn Dixon there, the father of Simon Dixon, the secretary of the Motorcycle Sporting Club, who had the temerity to go to a wedding this weekend.
Can't believe who would have had their wedding on a weekend when the ASBK's on. Especially when you...
Well, as you said this morning,
wedding,
must have been a very good mate.
Very, very good mate. Maybe a very former good mate. But as they come round to complete lap 2, it is Lee Holmes that set the fastest lap of the race. But... Anthony Carroll, Braxy, was only 1/10 of a second slower at 1:26.2, and I'd just be interested to see if that's his fastest lap of the weekend because he has got that carrot right in front of him.
I thought you were going to say be interested to see if he put a 600cc engine into between races.
I don't know if they make a 600 V4.
He might have engineered one. But Lee Holmes is going out and consolidating. It's not his fastest laps, but he's going out there and just eking out that little bit of a lead. He's given the temptation to second position Carroll to try and usurp him, but he thought, okay, it's time to check out.
Big look over the shoulder there from Torrance, and all he could see was Sarah Fairbrother right behind on board bike number 14.
These little CBR 250s talk about, they talk about two-strokes being ring dingers, but the old 250 two-cylinder, or four-cylinder, pardon me, 18,000 red line. And you know, look at this battle at the moment. As we've got, that's back there, that was Dixon, I think, old man Dixon.
Yeah, on board bike number 73, Gary Dixon. Putting in a solid charge up with the hill too, and sitting right on the back of Wilden's machine, bike number 24. He's giving away a bit of capacity there up the hill as well, and look how much of a penalty he had to pay with the bike that's 150 cc's bigger. Wilden's machine just pulling out as they crest the hill and go over the start-finish line, and they'll now be starting their 4th lap of the 8-lap journey.
And as we look at turn 3, our leader Lee Holmes is headed through turn 4. He's up to turn 6 and 7, going through Shark Helmet's corner. As we look down now at 4th position, McEwen there in 4th from Carpenter and Wilden in 5th and 6th. And keeping them honest, like you said, Greg Dixon there in 7th position. Be interesting to see Mr. Carroll if he's managed to close him down a bit. But Lee Holmes starting to lower the lap times down now, getting into the 25s, you'll be into the 24s very shortly as they come through on our screens now on asbk.com.au, this magnificent live streaming service.
What about Kieran McGowan though, Brax? He's sitting in 4th place at the moment, the first of the 250cc bikes as well, and doing a great job there on the little CBR 250. And he's actually got a pretty good lead over, well, actually, it's only down now to about 0.7 of a second over Carpenter on board bike number 519, the bigger Honda VFR 400.
And it just shows you, if you've got the momentum and the consistency here, that the CCs is not a big deficit if you haven't got them. It's just depending on what your commitment's like to going around corners fast. Or faster than a lot of others on track.
Looks like Matt O'Connell from AMCN has actually gone out there as well in this race on board bike number 35 on the R3 Cup machine. I thought that looked like a Yamaha R3 Cup bike out there.
That's what they were. For the guys that actually didn't make the cut-off of the R3 Cup, they were throwing them over to this category because the lap times were pretty similar. So that's why Matty O'Carroll is, that's probably why he didn't answer his phone a while ago when I was asking about a story. So he's probably getting ready for this race.
Yep, we're looking there at Wheeldon and Dixon still continuing this battle of 400cc's versus 250cc's. There's their leading 250cc machine at the moment, Kieran McGowan on board bike number 79. In fact, I think Wheeldon and Dixon are actually starting to close those guys down. Just having a look at the lap times. Pretty consistent. Their fastest lap and their last laps are all very, very similar, so it's good consistency. And, well, great consistency from our race leader, Lee Holmes. He's just uncorked a 125.3 to open up a 3.3 second lead over Anthony Carroll on board bike number 4.
Well, you can tell he's having a bit of fun because every lap is getting his fastest lap in.
Top speeds around the 170 k's an hour for Lee Holmes on board the Kawasaki ZXR 400.
It's a bit hard to tell that he's not a Kawasaki. And there's Dixon having a bit of a dip there on bike number 73 up besides Eric Reardon.
Well, bike number 24, the Honda VFR 400, looks like he's pinched the Kawasaki's wheels.
Could well do.
So this battle now, all we've seen the 519 machine of Carpenter get back ahead, so he's got back up into 4th position now. Has 519 of John Carpenter, the VFR 400. Didn't have to like playing second fiddle to the little 250 as McGowan comes back down the inside and gets the job done as the run down the hill into Pirelli Corner. This is a very good and tricky part of the circuit here, Braxy, this run through that sweeping left-hander and down into Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance corner.
Carpenter back up the inside there.
And that corner there comes right back round on itself, doesn't it?
And when it gets wet here, Phil, that is the most, that and turn number 7 Shark Corner are the two of the most treacherous corners on the track. There's something about that when it gets wet that the adhesion is a lot different there than anywhere else on the track, except maybe for going through turn 1 and 2 too. You just push the front all the way in the wet. It's a very challenging place in the wet when there's a bit of precipitation.
And they were heading down the back end of the circuit there. That we've mentioned it a couple of times before, but as Robbie Bugden said, the circuit there gets very narrow very, very quickly because it's super fast down the bottom there as they come round to the Suzuki corner. A couple of the riders have actually commented on that Suzuki corner at the bottom of the hill there is so good because it is so banked that they can get right through there. And you can even see it on the TV coverage of how the riders disappeared down behind the bank because of the camber on the corner.
Yeah, when you were talking about Robbie Bugden about it gets very narrow very quickly, I wonder what he was thinking when it got a bit wider very quickly going through Suzuki corner. Yeah. It was all brown blue, not black blue.
Opened up into a massive wide padding for him. Well, we're on the penultimate lap now. 4.6 seconds the lead for our race leader, Lee Holmes, ahead of Anthony Carroll on board bike number 4. Wadi Nasri is still sitting in 3rd place, and that will be his 2nd podium of the weekend too, Braxy.
Yeah, after his 3rd position yesterday afternoon about the same time.
Must like the afternoon run.
I was going to say, comes alive after the Nananup.
He's more of an afternoon man. So this is a good battle too between the 24 machine of Wheeldon and Dixon has just managed to get the 250 machine back ahead as well. As you said, the president of the motorcycle sportsman from the Dixon family, doing a great job.
No, he's the secretary.
Oh, secretary.
No, that's the father of the secretary.
That's what I said. So, secretary in the family.
Yep.
So you'd have to get out there and have a bit of a run as soon as there was a bike available.
And our leader now, Lee Holmes, 5.2. It's the smallest margin he's had so far. Normally he's been out to about 15, 20 seconds by the time they start the final lap.
Well, he did a PB, I think, in the race this morning, didn't he say? That. So maybe he's just more concentrating now on taking the race victory and round victory for the weekend.
Yeah, a bit more silverware for Shay Holmes down there. as they come past now, all on their last lap. So Holmes leading Carroll now by about 5.5 seconds, so pretty comfort zone at the moment. But McGowan on that little 250 seems to have got himself away from Carpenter on bike number 519, the 400.
He's done a great job, and I think he's got a probably handy enough lead to take that position in fourth place at the moment. Same as Dixon's actually got a good lead over Wielden as well. So the 250s have come to the fore at the end of the race, Braxy.
Yep, just motoring around, keeping the lap times up and keeping that corner speed up as Lee Holmes comes down on the Kawasaki ZX400 to ZXR 400 to take the win. 3 from 3 for the day in a pole position. Can't get much better than that. In second position coming through was Carroll, 6.5 seconds adrift. And then Wadi Nasri taking out third position. Well, it wasn't too...
But I think he was putting a lap on someone there at the final stages. It wasn't someone challenging him for the race win. But look at these two. They're pretty happy with their efforts this weekend.
Good camaraderie amongst the blokes in the Motorcycle Sportsman's Club as well.
They've tried unsuccessfully to shake hands 3 times there and failed miserably on every attempt. But they're waving to the crowd. Good to see the crowds hung around to take in the last race of the day. Here we go.
And watch a bit of a replay of... Come here, mate. I want to shake your hand.
Yep, so there they go.
Oh!
I don't think he was expecting him to be quite so slow because he's been so fast all weekend.
What a classic. How did that almost turn into an accident after the race is finished?
How's his knee feeling right now? Well, actually, how's both of them's knees feeling? Still got his knee sliotar on, which is a good sign. But, yes, that was the closest that anyone's been to Lee Holmes all weekend, Braxy.
Yeah, it was. Rather dramatic. And probably telling him, like, if I could get closer to you, I was going to give you a bit of a serve.
6.5 seconds, the victory margin for Lee Holmes. As you mentioned, after 2 20-plus second victories, Braxy, that was the closest that Anthony Carroll had been to him all weekend, and then he got even closer after the race. Wadi Nasri takes out the third place on the podium for his second podium for the weekend. Kieran McGowan in fourth, and John Carpenter in fifth.
And then Gary Dixon from Elliot Wielden, Mark Torrens in 8th, Sarah Fairbrother, another top 10 finish for her in 9th position, and Matty O'Connell on the Yamaha R3, the AMCN Journo in 10th from Michael Webb, Mick Frost in 12th, and Justin Whisker in 13th place. So what a great effort by them. 3 from 3 for Lee Holmes.
Well, let's have a quick break and come back with the wrap-up of the final bit of action here from Morgan Park in Queensland. Round 5 of the 2017 Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship, powered by Motul and Pirelli.
Our business is making dreams come true. Since 2002, we've realised over 100,000 Yamaha dreams and financed more than 150,000 motorcycling passions. We've helped turn the smallest dreams and the largest dreams into reality. Are you ready to make your dream a reality?
Second time.
Saturday night, October 28, the world's greatest speedway riders descend on Melbourne's Etihad Stadium for the 2017 QBE Insurance Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix. See Aussie heroes Chris Holder and Jason Doyle banging handlebars with America's multiple world champion Greg Hancock, and superstars from Russia, Sweden, Great Britain, Denmark, Slovakia, Poland and Slovenia. It's the final blockbusting round of the 2017 World Speedway Championship. Get your tickets from Ticketmaster.
The TFH Hire Australian Supercross Championship returns for 2017, brought to you by the City of Logan. Bring your family and friends down to Jimboomba on the 23rd of September to watch Australia's best dirt bike races as they commence their campaign to reign as champion in 2017. Tickets available now from ticketbooth.com.au.
And welcome back to Morgan Park. The final stages now of round 5 of the 2017 Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. And it has been a great weekend here at Morgan Park. We're just getting ready for the podium now in the final race of the weekend, the Motorcycle Sportsman Club Challenge. But Braxy, your final thoughts on the weekend that has been, well, a championship changer in so many classes over the weekend.
Very much so. It's, you know, every round has its own personal highlights, but I think the thing with this is that it showed how competitive the entire field is, from the YMF Australian Superbike category, or YMI Australian Superbike category, all the way through to the R3 Cup and the GP Juniors Cup. Every round we've seen something special come out, but here, because of the way the season and the championships changed so dramatically, it's great. But I think we better go down and have a word with our top 3 place getters.
Yep, Luke's down with our top 3. Let's head down to the podium now.
The Motorcycle Sportsman of Queensland Club Challenge, Podium 3, Wadi Nasri. A couple of podiums this weekend. Fantastic riding.
Thank you.
Was it good conditions out there? I know the sun's setting and those shadows are getting pretty long.
Yeah, it was about as good as it gets this late in the day. I really can't complain. I think it's been a fantastic weekend. We've had really good weather and we've had really good company to race with, so I'm just really excited to be a part of this crew that are racing together. These characters really make the time out here worthwhile, so I'm thankful to be racing here today, and it's good. It's a good day. Yeah.
Congratulations, mate. A fantastic way to end the weekend. Another second place for Anthony Carroll, mate. What's it been like racing an event like this?
Look, this has been a great event, huge event really, and for someone of my age, the years are sort of getting less and less, so it's still good to be able to be up on the podium with it.
Fantastic work. And another first for Lee Holmes, mate. You had that Kawasaki absolutely singing underneath you.
It was awesome, and it's not as easy as it looks. It was a lot of hard work.
Were there any moments where you actually went, I'd rather have someone racing around me right now?
Oh, that'd be in the last race when I nearly high-sided. Yeah, so.
Fantastic work, mate, and a great weekend, a perfect result. And back to you boys in the commentary box.